My people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to what's on FC. We are within Blessed Monday, y'all. How are we feeling as Chelsea fans after yesterday's stalemate? I've been seeing a lot of reactions across YouTube, across other platforms, and it's mellow. It was difficult. We didn't get the 3 points. We didn't open the season on the best notes. Today's video is a daring one. I would say it's a question I think most of us don't want to ask ourselves because we've already said goodbye. We think about the red cards that Jackson got against Newcastle and Flamengo, respectively. But it's an important question, in my opinion. So, shout out for tuning in, guys. Before we jump into this segment, Javi Simmons has stated he only wants Chelsea Football Club. No Bayern, no Man City. Give me the world champions. We love it. You get me? It seems that the imminent departure of Christopher Nkunku will be a key element in us getting Javi Simmons. Why? Why? Is it the money aspect? I doubt it. I highly doubt that. But yes, let's get Nkunku on his way, playing good football for Bayern, the way it's looking, and then we can seal our. Actually, we can finally seal Javi Simmons. I think some of our patience has grown very thin relating to the Dutch left midfielder, LM slash Cam. He plays all these positions. I think he would help us. We'll get to that. Let's have further insight on that. Today, our Senegalese brother, our African brother, Nicolas Jackson, who has been phased out. He hasn't been in match day squads. He didn't play the 2 preseason games against Palace. He wasn't even on the bench, which makes it clear that we don't want him at Chelsea. But do we need him at Chelsea? That's the key question. So, guys, I got the graphic. We got the board out today. You get me? And shall we break it down? This is what Palace did to us. Let's look at Palmer, guys, in this situation. Palmer is isolated. The 2 players in front of Palmer, we can say this is Adam Wharton blocking passes, and we can also say this is Will Hughes blocking more passes for Palmer. Palmer drifting forward isn't really an option. We couldn't really form a 2 striker pivot of sorts. So Joao Pedro was the striker waiting for the ball to come to feet. Understandably so, right? We're trying to create. If we're not trying to do that, we were trying at least to get the ball forward into positions, to get it to Gittins, maybe get it to Neto. Maybe these men can drive forward. But getting the ball to Palmer was almost impossible. So what happened, guys? We were just nullified. If you look at the players in the front line, Eze sticking close to Enzo Fernandez. You see on the other side, Ismail Assar staying quite close to Caicedo. Cucurella did invert in moments, but all that they had to do was increase numbers in the midfield as well. So even if Cucurella came forward and Enzo Fernandez tried to get forward into these positions with Caicedo taking up the right side of that midfield, it didn't really help us. They still matched us, guys. It's not now like a man for man thing between Palmer and Fernandez versus Will Hughes and Adam Watson. So we were nullified through and through. 3-on-3 in the front line as well. Richards, he had Bino Gittins' number. Neto was struggling against Tyrone Mitchell. So there will be other games like this. This is not the last time we'll face a team that's organized like Palace, that nullifies Palmer or tries to nullify Palmer in these positions. So what do we do in these situations? And why am I asking the question of Nicolas Jackson? Why did Jackson make games like this feel a bit easier? Because when we had Jackson in the team, guys, and we'll just place him back in there, Jackson drops deeper than both Delap and Joao Pedro. So when Jackson would drop as deep as the midfield here, now we're matching the midfield, if anything. If Mateta doesn't drop in, Mateta is almost the useless man of sorts, the null and void man for Palace. Because now Jackson is helping Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez to actually match the number. So Palmer can now drift forward into these positions. He can move a bit forward. And Jackson had the ability to thread a pass through the lines. Jackson would do it more often than not, if anything. The ball would move into Palmer in these positions. And in those moments, as soon as Jackson delivers the ball, Jackson starts to move forward. That's the thing that we will miss about Jackson. Immediately he distributes, he moves forward. So the whole Palace team has to look back now. Everyone has to look back, start tracking back. so as to get Palmer, so as to accommodate other players. But then in that moment, Jackson is creating space because someone has to track where Jackson will be when Palmer moves forward into these positions with the ball. And we saw goals like this Palmer's first season against Everton. We saw this. Even last season, we saw this. The link up play between Palmer and Jackson was key in our play. We don't have that anymore because we have new players, and these players need to adapt to the league, of course. They have to adapt to the team. Okay, not the league, perhaps, because Liam Delap was in the league. Joao Pedro actually has the most experience of all our strikers. But let's consider Joao Pedro was a bench player for Brighton. And on top of that, he wasn't an out and out striker. At times, Joao Pedro would be a central attacking midfielder for Brighton. Now he's adapting as our striker. It looked so good. Fluminense, PSG, preseason games, but the Premier League has commenced. There's still a level of adaptability that needs to occur in our system. Bino Gittens, we know he's coming from Germany. He didn't even play the Club World Cup. He needs to adapt. Pedro Neto, Palmer, they miss Jackson to some extent. The best of them came out with Jackson on the pitch. We know Jackson's weaknesses, guys. We know, besides discipline, we know the discipline element. Finishing was not polished. Aerial ability, not as good as a Delap or even a Joao Pedro. We understand those things. But do we need three strikers in order to win the league? I would say yes. Three outs and out strikers. Why not? Why should we ship Jackson on now? And this is not me just turning the other cheek and saying, I haven't said we don't need Jackson. I want what's best for Jackson, for him as a player. But I also want what's best for Chelsea. So, watching yesterday's game, seeing how organized Premier League teams will be this season, it's a concern, guys. It should be a concern for all of us. So, let me know your thoughts, guys. Have we been too rash in ensuring Jackson leaves? Nkunku, we understand we don't really need him as much, but could we use a Jackson in the season we're trying to win the league? And then Jackson can leave thereafter. Is there a striker in world football that we can match in terms of high press to Nicolas Jackson? Who really presses aggressively like Jackson? Not many. Not many. Back in the day, maybe. Roberto Firmino in his prime was a beautiful pressing machine. RIP Diogo Jota, beautiful pressing machine. Funny, both Liverpool players. Funny one. They are more, but they're not many. So Jackson gives us something that these two strikers we have now can't give us at that level, discomforting the back line of oppositions. If Jackson's pressing you, you have to move the ball fast. You might make a mistake. If you're trying to give it to one of the wingbacks in your team, we might intercept that pass because other players can now start their press because Jackson has set the tone. Even Arsenal do it, guys. Havertz would set the tone for the rest of the players to press. So yeah, guys, I won't lie. I think we might need Jackson. Let me know your thoughts, guys. You get me? Blessings, my people.